Why they go in and run for Dean? Wait a minute. Listen, boss, I've been in the big leagues 14 years and I never appeared in a World Series. Please give me a chance so I can tell my grandchildren.
Oh, go ahead, boss. What do you got to lose? We're 7 runs ahead.
You heard what he said.
Dean is up, folks, and here comes the first pitch.
Strike one. Wait a minute. You okay, Sam?
It's all right, Roy. This damn glove.
Max Hanahay, you gonna call him from way back there? He looks wild to me.
Them your knees are here shaking, Max?
Mind your business, Red Nose, and play ball! Throw it in here, Greenhorn.
All right, do it again, Roy. Come on, boy. Do it again.
Strike two. A bunch of throwing spitballs.
Now, pig's poop. That ball's as dry as your granddaddy's scalp.
Well, you better not be trying any funny business out there. Rump pot.
You watch your mouth, mister.
Forget.
Prove it in here, son.
Okay, this one's it, Climber.
This is it.
Don't let me down.
Don't let up. One more, boy.
Let's go.
Come on, Roy. Right by him, baby. Punch him out now. Yes, we go.
Strike three. You're out.
To the Mr. Baseball Show. I am John Weeks, also known as Mr. Baseball, and with my permanent guest slash co-host, John Hopwood, we're going to throw some baseballs at you.
Yes.
And John, how do you want to start this off? Do you want to talk about the awards? Let's
Sure.
take a couple of minutes. Now,
Yes,
what'd you think of them?
I thought that Altuve definitely is the MVP. I'd like to see him in a Red Sox uniform.
Oh, I'd like to see him in any uniform. I'd like to see him in a Yankee uniform.
What a great player.
Oh, he is. He is. So you're happy with
Was
that?
it his third or fourth batting title?
Third.
You know, when Ted Williams got his fifth batting title, whose unofficial, number 2 record did he beat in the American League? Because at the time, Mr. Ty Cobb was credited with 12, and Ted said he would never get 12.
12, yeah.
Who had 4 batting titles in the American League? A 400 hitter who hit 390 2 other times. You got it on your tip of your tongue. I don't think that Ted Williams, when he got his 5th batting title, was.
I see. I thought you were saying who won 4. Okay, now let me think about that. So he passed somebody.
He had 4 batting titles. I think was that before the war, and then he went for his 5th after the war in the 40s. He only had 6 because he got cheated out of one. Was it Billy Goodman or somebody came in, wouldn't have to qualify.
Billy Goodman won in 1950.
And that's the year Ted out-hit him but didn't have enough at-bats.
That was 1954 when he out-hit Bobby Avila.
Oh, it was Bobby Avila he out-hit?
Yeah, and he didn't have enough at-bats. And
it's a better story with Goodman because he was a teammate.
If they had the same rules today or scratch that, they had the rules yesteryear they have today, he would have won 3 more batting championships.
Yeah, and they changed it because of that. Because Ted...
Yeah.
Ted Williams only won 6. Harry Harmon.
Oh, Harry Harmon.
He hit 400. And before we go to the modern ones, I've got a question for you. What's the only outfield in Major League history, and we'll say modern baseball starts in 1893 when you get 60 feet 6 inches. That's generally accepted now, not 1900. What's the only outfield to have 4 outfielders that hit 400 and qualify for a batting title?
You got to be kidding me.
Yes.
I wouldn't know that. Let me see. It's got to be
Cub. We will let you ponder that one while we talk about who was Cy Young in the American League.
Who was he?
No, who was the Cy Young Award winner? The Cy Young Memorial Award.
Kluber this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you satisfied with that?
Yes. Yeah. Sale blew it at the end. Sale.
Is it a thing, too, that, also he's such a good pitcher, maybe he should have had it before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kluber did win it once before. So.
Right.
So he's got 2.
It's like a Jim Palmer.
And Scherzer in the National League won his 2nd in a row. And his 3rd overall because he won one with Detroit.
Do you think that's okay?
Yes. Okay. Yes. I was in tune with all the awards. I thought they were all pretty much spot on.
NL MVP?
I don't care for the Manager of the Year award. That to me is.
I thought Roberts should have got it. The Dodgers.
Okay, let's let's ponder this for a second. Molitor won it with Twins because he had a great season. Well,
and because he's Paul Molitor, who was a Twin.
He had the same team last year. He didn't. He didn't win. So what was different?
Hey, let's see. Can we see N? No, not N. Oh, that's the good one. There we go. 1969. Ted Williams won was Manager of the Year, AL, in 1969, for getting the Senators into 4th place.
Yeah.
And they won like 85 games.
Yep.
And Joe was the hitting, like you said, the hitting instructor for the Athletics because he lived in San Francisco, his hometown.
I've been in his restaurant.
My father was there too, and when we went there, it wasn't there anymore.
No,
so,
it's
but
gone.
we went anyway.
Fisherman's Wharf.
It was gone by the late 80s.
Yeah.
But it was a famous place, and people would go hoping to see him.
Oh,
and he would dine there occasionally with his...
Yeah, and the memorabilia in there was great.
They said that he was very elegant. That was always a thing. So well dressed.
Yeah, always wore a coat and tie.
The two opposites, the greatest players of their time, if you throw in Stan the Man. But see, Stan the Man only... usually, he started, 41 or 42?
Something like that, yeah. It was the early 40s.
Now, did Joe come up in 36?
Yes.
And he would have been Rookie of the Year that year because he had ungodly stats.
Yeah.
Then he asked for $20,000, I think, either in his sophomore or 3rd season after having another great season.
And he held out.
And they really unloaded on him.
Yeah. But then they offered him 5 cents a ticket over so many tickets.
And didn't Toots Shore tell him not to take it?
Yeah, and if he had taken it, he'd have been in the high 30,000 bracket.
Right, because people came out to see him play. He was one of those people. There's a famous story about Ted Williams too. I can't remember the player was complaining because Ted was taking batting practice too much, and he wanted to get his at cuts. And it was a good player. And like Johnny Pesky said, you see those 30,000 people? They're not coming out to see you or me. They're coming out to see Ted.
One of my favorite stories about Ted is he was on deck. Billy Goodman was up. The winning run was on base. And maybe the bases were loaded. And he went to Goodman. He said, get your pitch, take it, and hit it hard somewhere. They're not going to walk you to get to me. Yeah.
There's all sorts of... Well, last time we were on, it might have been my show, just to be the devil's advocate, I was arguing that Ted Williams wasn't the greatest hitter. You have to take Babe Ruth out of the
Equation,
out of
sure.
anything. Because even if you look at their stats and the value, it's so close. You one or the other, Babe Ruth. But Babe Ruth was Babe Ruth, you know.
Yes.
You know, Ted was not going to win 90. Babe would have won 300 games as a pitcher.
Oh, he would have.
And I don't hear about Babe's work ethic other than, you know, two women with his arms around, a dozen hot dogs,
and
and
enough
a
room
gallon
for
of
a beer in his
a
hand.
gallon of beer. And I guess a lot of that's true.
Yeah.
But Ted Williams, I went back to look at the stats, which I've always look at those stats. It's just tremendous.
Yeah.
But then reading again about him, that was his life, hitting.
Oh, it
he was
was.
a scientist, not about hitting, but pitching.
Yeah.
He knew so much about pitching. And he would talk to the pitchers, who he'd always put down as, the most ignorant people on earth and that. But he would give them tips. But another thing, they said Tom Yawkey tried to stop him from giving batting tips to the opposite players.
Oh, I didn't know
The
that.
famous was Al Kaline. As he got older, Al Kaline came up, what, in the early 50s?
Yeah, he won the
In Detroit?
batting championship in '55
Right, and
at 20 years of age.
3,007 hits,
Yes.
399 home runs.
Yeah, one short.
Forgotten out, great outfielder, one of the great
Oh,
players.
we're one of the great players, period.
Yeah.
You're right, all around.
And Ted's giving him tips. And Yawkey was saying, you shouldn't be doing that, Ted. And he said, listen, it's a contest. People want to see a contest.
Right.
What did they say about, was it Ellis Kinder? We were talking about him. The Browns pitcher that the Red Sox picked up in 48, and then he blossomed in 49.
Yes.
It was either him or Allie Reynolds, and it might be that generation of pitchers. They couldn't stand having a big lead because they would get sloppy. But if it was just, and Vic, how'd you pronounce his name, Rashi?
Vic Rashi.
If you just gave them 1 or 2 runs, it's what they wanted. Because they'd concentrate. 'Cause, they'd bring Ellis Kinder in a wheelbarrow, put him in the bullpen.
That guy drank, probably more than any major leaguer I've ever read about.
I think there's a story, and you hear them all, and they get better as you go on. Where they used to have people that, like on your team, like he came from the Browns. Well, let's take Ellis Kinder out before, and they weren't playing the Browns. They were playing like the Yankees or another contender. Let's take Ellis out and get him drunk before the game, the night before the game.
Yeah.
And so, basically, they're bringing him back in a wheelbarrow, and the guy's just astounded to come out to the park, and he comes out of the bullpen. Because he came out of the bullpen a lot.
Oh, especially the last 2 years.
This guy that was just comatose the night before, and then pitches like 4 shutout innings.
I know.
But
He was ticked that they took him out of that final game in '49 when the Yankees won the game. I think 4-3.
World War II.
All right.
World War II. You lived
remember it.
through World War II.
I did.
The players went to war. Ted Williams went to war.
A lot of them did.
Joe DiMaggio, they both lost 3 years at the prime of their careers. Bob Feller went in, I think, in 1940. Hank Greenberg was the first person drafted.
I
Greenberg, a great star.
think, was the first person drafted or the first person to volunteer?
I'm not sure.
I'm not either. But Yogi.
He spent almost 5 years. They let him out early.
Yeah.
So he was there for the 45 and got the Detroit. Detroit was in the World Series in 45.
Yeah, he hit the only 2 home runs for Detroit in that series.
The third man, or maybe the second, to hit 58 home runs. Did
Right.
he hit it before? No, Jimmy. It was either him or Jimmy Fox.
I think Fox hit his
24 years old.
first, and then Greenberg. But they both, I'll never forget, I think it was, I don't know who was Detroit playing Cleveland, and they brought in a rookie pitcher, and he just stifled Greenberg.
Well, the famous thing was with his 58 home runs, there was one game, and they had to call that last game because there were no lights. And the umpire said, I'm sorry, Hank, but we don't have any time left. He says, neither do I. He really had been exhausted.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
But now we got a 59 home run hitter in Giancarlo Stanton, who I hear is coming to the Red Sox, but I would rather have Altuve. Hey, here's a letter from the White House to Kennesaw Mountain Landis, January 15th, 1942. I honestly feel that it would be best for the country to keep baseball going. There will be fewer people unemployed. Everybody will work longer hours and harder than ever before. So they needed entertainment. As to the players themselves, I know you agree with me that individual players who are of active military or naval age should go without question into the services. There
and
you
they
go.
did for the most part.
So what would you think, what would Bob Feller, what would Hank Greenberg have hit if he hadn't gone off to war?
Well into the 500s.
You think? Because baseball...
Yes, I do think that, because he missed enough time.
We're gonna
Teddy
go
Ballgame would have had over
with
7.
I.
Ted would
I.
have been in around 700.
I. Can you put up I, Hank Greenberg stats? Actually, I have, it says stars. They projected that he would have had a career average of 312 rather than 313, 503 dingers, 1,820 RBI, 2,315 hits. Still Hall of Fame.
Oh, without doubt.
Hey, but what do you think Bob Feller would have won? What's the winningest pitcher in your lifetime? Has to be Johnny Sain's pal from the old Boston Braves.
Warren Spahn?
Didn't he win 363 games?
Yes, he did.
How many? Clemens won 352 or 3.
Yeah, just short of what he did.
And the Cubs pitcher won one more.
Yeah, Maddox.
Maddox won one more. I think it was 354. What do you think Bob Feller, who went, I think he went off in 1940, he joined the Navy. What do you think Bob Feller, who won 266 games, how many games he would have won?
Another 80.
Is that all you're going to say?
I'm being conservative. It was
Are we going to Billy's after this? Can we bet? Are we going to bet something? I can't reach. My hands aren't working. I can't reach my wallet.
If you can get through
Never could it?
If you get through the door, we'll go.
I'm having problems with my hands, folks. I'm not going to be here for a while.
Uh,
Got to go through. Well, this isn't the. The other day somebody's watching the base. We were on there, and I was getting about Ted Williams arguing. They said, "Oh, you're being so awful to Mr. Baseball." I said, just watch for another 5 minutes. Then we're laughing about something else. We're just two old farts arguing about base.
That's
nobody, no other sport.
I had 10 people, fans of ours, that came up to me and said that was the best show they'd watched yet, that they have seen yet.
Yeah, but I know you were, like I said, I know you're right about Ted Williams, but
a little controversial.
Then we just say, well, yeah. But when you really look into it, you realize his greatness. Bob Feller is, let me bring it up on my screen. That would be Bob Feller.
Are they going to...
They projected him. He went 266 and 162, 325, because, the ERAs were kind of fat then.
Right.
360, 209, 313. How many strikeouts do you think he would have had?
Probably...
Would he have broken Walter Johnson's record of 3,600?
I think he would have.
Nope, they got him at 335.74. Who did break the record? Was it Carlton or the Texan?
Ryan first. Carlton passed Ryan.
Wasn't that exciting when they were getting to fourth?
Yeah.
They would continually keep going.
And then Carlton popped off, said, I'm not only going to catch him, I'm going to pass him big time.
When I was
Vice versa.
When I was a kid up to the 70s, it was always said a power pitcher couldn't last. They always thought, Catfish Hunter will last because he's wily.
Yeah.
And he was wily and a great pitcher, but he didn't last.
He was an artist.
But these great power pitchers, they thought, used to break down. But see, Tom Seaver said, everything is in your legs. You can even deceive. You can change speed with your legs. That's what the younger pitchers, he was talking about Don Gullett, was throwing with his arm rather than using his legs.
Yeah.
And you can change speeds. You can do all sorts of things. So they basically, Mike Marshall, who has the NL and AL record for most games appeared in. Mike Marshall, the reliever, first Cy Young winner.
Yeah.
He studied the physiognomy or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah.
He had a PhD. He always would talk about, and then he breaks down again.
Yeah.
Gene Mauch put him in 109 games. Walt Alston put him in 96. So he broke down the second time. But they actually were studying the body then. And these guys had gone to college and everything. So I think that they knew how to last.
Right.
Maybe there was a little performance-enhancing stuff for them, but...
Marshall was a character. He wouldn't warm up after...
The Dodgers 74, yeah.
Yeah. So in '74 in the World Series, there was
Mike Marshall, the reliever, first Cy Young Award winner for a reliever.
For a reliever.
1974.
Right.
Walt Alston's last pennant.
there was a little delay in the game, and Joe Rudy, whoever was on deck with him, he said, "Do you think he's egotistical enough that he won't warm up?" And they said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, if he doesn't warm up, first pitch is going to be a fastball." He hit it out.
Yeah, and Rudy wasn't known to be he had power, but not a power
Yeah,
hitter.
I'm pretty sure it was
He was just-
Rudy that was the batter.
Yeah, it would have, The thing was, Ellis Kinder only needed 4 pitches to warm up. They would say, "Wake me up, let me have 4 pitches, put me out there."
Wake me up.
Well, he was a rookie at the age of 31. He came from some ungodly place like Arkansas. Hopeless Arkansas.
And that was Warren Spahn also. He came up late.
Because of the war. He was
Yeah.
27. He came up in 42, then did his 3 years. So Bob Feller would have won 360 games.
So I was.
What do you think DiMaggio would have done? Because DiMaggio, we have to realize, Joe DiMaggio played hard every day. He slid into the bag. He
I
was a
would've-
great base runner, and it wore his legs out, and he was in constant pain like those last, since 40, at least 47.
Yeah,
Maybe 48. But
could be.
so he had an abbreviated career. And either Keller or Heinrich, the 2 great outfielders that were with him from
Yeah.
the late 30s, said, Why
And
do you
40s.
Why do you play all out like we're playing the Browns or somebody, and it doesn't matter? He said, somebody in that stand might have not seen me. And he
Yeah.
took that so seriously.
Oh, very seriously.
So the bone spurs he had, the pain. It's legendary, the pain. Like in another generation, Carl Yastrzemski would kick straps something and get out there and play.
I'll give Joe another 105 home runs. What is that projection?
He hit 361.
Right.
They only have him at 436. 320. He was 325, 361, 1537. Clearly of the time, great stats.
Right.
But 436, 1870, 324.
Only 436, huh?
Well, his great power years were when he was younger.
True.
They only have him 30 home runs each year, the 3 years that he's not there.
That's what I was thinking. Then I gave him a 35.
Like Williams, they constantly knocked in 100 runs.
Oh, absolutely.
And good God, he scored runs by the score. But so did Ted.
Oh, I know.
Ted, the 1949, that when he won his last MVP, he scored 150 runs and drove 159
It
in.
was the closest batting race in history that he lost to George Kell by
Jesus.
0.2 of a point.
Ted should have had like 10, 12 batting titles.
Oh,
but,
he could.
But he was never bitter about stuff like that. He loved his stats.
No, I
But,
did read where he was a little irritated about going to Korea.
Oh, but nobody wanted to go. My father didn't want to go.
Yeah, but I've
They
been giving
sent
up his
him to
baseball
know.
career.
He had a young family,
Yeah.
Well, Brando said Brando tried to join the army, but he'd hurt his knee in World War II, and the cartilage is gone. And they wouldn't
Marlon
let
Brando?
Yeah, Marlon Brando had gone to military school, and so he became an actor because he didn't have anything else to do. And there were lots of girls. Geez, talk about a walking sex harassment nowadays, right? And he said, whole show it himself, not to do it. A different type of batsman, right?
Yeah.
But in Korea, they said, get ready, we changed you to 1A, because he was a celebrity. Because nobody wanted to go. It was like Vietnam after, from 68 on. They took celebrities and put them in, and that really burned Ted's behind.
Oh,
Yet
yes.
he was in combat then. What do you think he's projected to hit?
Who,
344, 525, 521, 1839.
Okay.
He had 1,798 runs, 2,654 hits. What would have happened in the prime of his career if
He would have gotten over 3,000 hits.
See, they don't project Korea.
They don't. Oh, how about home runs?
They
gosh,
only do the World War
5 times
II.
30.
They have him at 351 career average. Up 7 points. 696 taters. No, 685 taters. 2,432 RBIs, which would have been a record, and 2,435 runs, which would have been a record. But he also broke his elbow in late
1950
That took a lot
All-Star
of his
game.
power away.
Yeah, 1950 All-Star game.
If you take easily, this guy was going to break Babe Ruth's record. If he could have, his last year Ted hit .316 with 29 taters and 72 RBI. So
at
he's
42?
Yeah. So he's just 29 home runs away from tying Babe Ruth.
Yeah. And that's, yeah.
You know, the Yankees wanted him desperately. They were going to trade DiMaggio for him, but they wanted Yawkey wanted it was Joe Cronin wanted Yogi Berra thrown in. That was 47, and they weren't going to give Yogi Berra up.
Heck no.
And 3-time MVP.
Yeah.
But Ted. And I was arguing about over the MVPs. We all know that Colonel Egan, the columnist for the Boston Record, and the other Boston Red Sox would just leave. He'd have to win the Triple Crown. They wouldn't even put him on the ballot. One of the ones he lost to DiMaggio, was at 1 point.
Yeah, I think it was.
All it would take was
1941.
if one of the Boston writers had left him off.
47.
Put him on 10th place.
Yes.
He would have won.
That was
He
just.
won a Triple Crown. They hated him.
I know that, and that's not right.
He told later that he was so immature. He came out of a horrible background. Where with Joe DiMaggio came out of this loving Italian family.
Oh, yeah, he was a
Joe's
folk hero.
Do you know Joe's parents were declared enemy aliens during World War II?
I did not know that.
And they took away Giuseppe's boat, which Joe used to have to go out on and hated. They played baseball, the DiMaggio brothers, so they didn't have to go on that damn boat.
I know. The father wanted them to be fishermen, and Vince led the way.
Oh, yeah. We could do a whole story on them and DiMaggio.
Yeah, just the 3 DiMaggio brothers.
But they always asked Joe, because Ted would always say, Joe was, always was so effusive about Joe being the greatest ball player. And in the early days, they'd always ask Joe, what do you think about Ted Williams as a hitter? He said, the greatest left-handed hitter I ever saw. Because, of course, he was a right-handed.
Right-handed.
And then they'd ask him again, well, he's the greatest left-handed hitter. But towards the end, he'd say he was the greatest hitter he ever saw.
And he was a right-handed hitter in high school. That blew my mind when I read that. And
that's a distinct advantage,
Well, he
Being
did it
lefty.
because...
We only got a minute left.
Okay, he did it because left field was so close at the school, and right field was deeper. So he turned around, started hitting left-handed.
Ted always said, I can hit to the left field, but they built the bullpens out and right. And they brought the bleachers out, so he could hit to any field. So I hit the right. There's a guy but they said at Yankee Stadium.
Numbers he would have put up as a left-handed hitter in Yankee Stadium.
But they asked Joe McCarthy if Ted Williams could he break Ruth's record when we were kids. Well, Ruth's record meant single season home run. Ruth's record. Later, when it was 714, which is the badge of Joe Friday on Dragnet.
Dragnet.
But he said, wouldn't Ted break Babe Ruth's record? And he said, Gehrig never did.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
It's time to say adios, dos vidania, whatever you want to say.
All right, Cindy, pour me that beer. I'm heading towards Billy's right now. Billy's Sports Bar. Keep swinging, folks.
Play ball!